Hi, this is Trinesha Cottrell, and welcome to day 23 of 30 Days of Purpose. So, let me start by saying stop being jealous. I know you're probably saying this is so unlike you. Why are you saying stop being jealous? Usually you're so humble. And listen, I'm still a humble person. But I really want to talk about why you shouldn't be jealous. Sometimes we see other people do things or have things, and we start to feel like, okay, well, if they have this, what about me? If they have this car, how come I have to drive this car? If they have this house, why do I have to be in this house? And you start to really compare yourself to somebody else. You start to think about, well, all of the blessings that God has given me is nothing compared to their blessings. It makes you start to feel like God isn't blessing you. You start to feel like you're at lack of something, but God is the God of abundance. And it's funny because earlier today, we were learning about gifts and we were learning about prophecy and different things in Bible study. And as the preacher was going through and we were going through each section, today in Bible study, we talked about remembering the purpose of all spiritual gifts, research the diversity of spiritual gifts. Okay, it was just two things. But as we talked about spiritual gifts, the pastor started to talk about how sometimes God can give us a gift, but we have to make sure that we cherish the gifts that we've been blessed with instead of comparing ourselves or being jealous of someone else's gifts. And not only that, but I also started to think about some of the things that I aspired to have in my life, some of the things that I really have been praying to God about. I have been saying, God, I've been doing this, I've been preparing in this season, I've been doing this thing this way. And I have been really trying to focus in on the things that God is doing in my life and not making it a conditional love, but in the type of love where I'm willing to be serving, the type of love where I'm willing to be disciplined regardless. Like, even if He doesn't, like the book of Daniel says, even if He doesn't, He is still good because God is always good. He gave His only begotten Son for us, He's done everything for us. And so, when I start to think about jealousy, when I start to think about when we start to compare ourselves to other people, and Teddy Roosevelt said it best. He said, comparison is the thief of joy, because you can't appreciate anything that you have in life if you're sitting around comparing yourself to someone else. It's like when you're married or when you're in a relationship, you start to look at, Stephanie's relationship or Bob's relationship, and it's like Bob's wife does this for him, Stephanie's husband does this for her, but you don't even realize or appreciate the things that the person that you're with is doing. You got that grass is greener syndrome. You start to feel jealous of what someone else has when you don't understand that what you have is what's specifically for you. And if it's not something that's graced by God, you weren't patient enough to wait around for the thing that was yours. Earlier today, I was listening to this podcast. I always listen to educational stuff. I listen to audiobooks. I listen to sermons and different business things. And I was listening to this young man who had so much wisdom. It was it was like, wow, like I see people nowadays and they don't have that much wisdom that this young guy had. And he was talking straight facts. Like I was like, oh wow. And it makes sense that he would be successful because he's using the wisdom that he's been blessed with. He's using his gift of wisdom, of knowledge to be able to educate, to help other people, which I think is such a blessing. And so as he's talking, he starts to talk about how sometimes we stay in relationships too long. Sometimes we stay, and this could be a friendship relationship, this could be a romantic relationship, but we stay in it so long because we're feeling like, all right, well, I'm just going to stay with this person and put up with all of these things, not realizing that God has better for us, not realizing that that's not what was grace for us. We are just settling for that. And His reason why we settle for that is we don't want to be alone. Now, before you get defensive, like I was about to do in my mind, and I was like, I like being alone. I like being single. Yes, I do. But I also aspire to be with someone else. I also have a want to be in a relationship, a want to have companionship. And it's not good for man to be alone. And when the Bible says that, I truly believe, and this is just my interpretation, not, a pastor, not someone that studied theology or anything like that. But I truly think that when he said that, he means men or women. You saw what happened with the 19. It was like people started going, they started losing their mind because when you don't have physical touch, whether that's a hug, a handshake, whatever it is, when you are isolated from other people, it really doesn't do good for your mental state. And I believe there's even studies that backs up that as well. But I truly believe that for men and women, and I know I hear a lot of men say, it's hard for me to be alone. I can't be alone. I'm going to be with somebody. But I feel like women are the same way. And yes, we might be more diligent. We might have a little more, I don't want to say strength as if we're stronger than men, but when it comes to companionship, we can endure a little more. And I don't know if it's just because of the way that we were made or if it's just our mindset because of the things that we've already had to go through in life. But when it comes to being single, when it comes to being alone, I notice a lot more women are more, they're okay with being alone. They're okay with not having to be in a relationship for the most part. And I do see a lot of women rush to be in relationships and things like that. But for the most part, like if you had to have a study A for women and study B for men of all different types of personalities, all different types of backgrounds, I think the group of women would outlast the men being alone. And I don't mean in a relationship, I mean talking to somebody. I mean being surrounded by people, whatever else it is. I just feel like for any human being, it's difficult not having companionship, not having a person to talk to, not having someone that you can hug, that you could talk to, that you could give a handshake to, someone that could pat you on your back, someone who could really hold your hand or whatever else. And so it's definitely difficult. I'm not making excuses. I'm not trying to make one person or one sex greater than the other one. I'm just saying in general, it's definitely difficult for both. And also, as he started talking about being alone in this podcast earlier, I really had to do some self reflection. Like, I had some people in my life that I let stay around way too long. I laugh at the way that I said that, but seriously, like you have those people in your life, and you're like they're your A1 since day one. You got this guy that you dated since high school. You got whatever else it is in your life, and you just keep giving people chance after chance, or you're growing and the other person isn't growing, or you notice that God is taking you somewhere else. And although they were helpful in this season because while you were here, this was a good relationship for you, but now they just want to talk about everybody and you don't want to do that anymore. And so you're hindering your own growth because you're trying to put yourself in a situation with somebody else. You don't want to be alone to learn the lessons that God is trying to teach you. You don't want to take that knowledge, that wisdom that God is trying to show you so that you could have the right team around you, the right people who are pushing you into purpose, the right people who are going to check you on your stuff, the right people who are going to allow you to be the best version of you, not just hold you back so that they can be content with where you are so you stay stagnant in your life, but people who are going to actually continue to make you feel motivated to do more in your life. Those are the type of people you should have in your life. And I know being alone, not having that friend that you known forever, or that man that you met in high school, high school sweethearts, whatever it is that you're going through might be difficult, but I promise you that God is going to see you through. That if God removes one thing, he always replaces it with another. I might not be in a new relationship, but the support that I have in my life, sorry, my phone is blowing up for some reason. Nobody ever texts me. My phone is so dry. My phone be dry as the Sahara Desert. And that's how the DMs be too. Like, I'll be, and this is a little TMI where I might be a little too transparent in this moment, but listen, it's going to help somebody. So I will literally be like today, or I can't say this week, but for the past 3 days, no one will DM me. I won't get no text messages, no nothing, right? And because I haven't met anybody and I'm just focused. But the moment that I get super laser focused and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. I got my schedule on point. I done got my budget straight. I mean, my whole life just about to come up. That's when like the DMs just start coming. That's when people just start texting out of nowhere, and I'm like, I know, see, the adversary is a liar. There's no, how in the world are they getting through on my line? Because I know I blocked this person. It ain't nothing but a trick of the adversary. I kid you not, because I'm like, what? Every time you get laser focused, there it goes. It's like, but other than that, like I could be preoccupied, unfocused, just doing whatever in my life. And it's like nothing. It's super dry. Or I'm like focused and I'm doing the things God wants me to do and I pray for something, but while I'm in the waiting season and I don't have like a everything's completed list, but it's like, oh, I did one big thing today. And during that stage, nobody is texting. It's like it's so dry, it don't make no sense. Like it's dry as I want you to picture this because it's gonna be funny and it's gonna lighten the mood a little bit. But you ever seen white chicks when they getting on people and they talk about the yo mama thing and then he goes and it's like dust? That's how my phone is. That is legit how my phone is when I'm focused, when I'm laser focused, when I'm like all in, when I'm like, I wake up in the morning, I'm grateful, thankful. I work out super hard. I mean, I pushed myself to the limit this day. Like I didn't just do regular exercise. I exercise. You know how sometimes you exercise just to be like, okay, I exercise today, check. Like the days that I'd be like all in is the days that it'd be like the distractions just come right on in. I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to focus on this course. I'm going to go through this video again because I know there's something I missed and I want to finish this workbook. I want to finish doing 30 days of purpose. I got things that I want to do in my life and I'm trying to accomplish this. I want to get this photo thing done because I want to work with this brand or whatever else it is. As soon as I get focused, I got everything lined up. I've done all of the things that it is that I need to do. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go read the Bible. I get ready to read the Bible and I say maybe I want to go do one more thing or something. There comes a DM. Really. But as soon as I get focused, it's like there it is. It's like really though. Like you have got to be kidding me. It's ridiculous. I'm just like it's like the adversary knows when you're for real about being focused on God. Because any other time you could be silly, you could be out here doing what you want to do, you could be distracted, like I don't know what, drifting, just drifting, and the adversary ain't nowhere to be found. The moment that you like, okay, God, I'm gonna do whatever it is that you want me to do, I'm gonna do all of these things on my checklist, I'm going to be focused on my business, I'm going to go to school for this thing, or I'm going to make sure that I heal as soon as and it's this way with relationships, it's this way with business, it's this way with me learning things. In every single area a distraction comes in. I could be like, sometimes in the past I would do one of these videos and I would be like, all right, God, I just want to be single. I don't want to be with nobody. I obviously have a lot of work that I got to do, so let me focus on me and I'm gonna do what it is that you need for me to do in this season. And I'd be so serious. I would be like, okay, I don't care how fine he look, I don't care nothing, I'm gonna just go ahead and focus on what it is that I need to do. Day one, it's like focus, focus, focus. Day two, it's like focus, focus, focus. Day three, or day four, I kid you not, I will go to the store, some random place I ain't never seen this person in my life. And all of a sudden, this guy will be like, oh, hey, you like this too? Or they'll start some kind of smooth conversation. And I'd be like in my own little world singing. I'd be the happiest I've ever been in my entire life. Just singing, humming to myself. Look at like just in a zone, in a whole mood. And I'll be feeling real good. And all of a sudden they'll be like, hey, can I get your number? I'm like, oh no, they did not. And I don't even notice the person at first. I'm like so focused on what it is that I'm doing. I don't even realize the person standing beside me. And then they'll be like, hey. And I'll be like, hey. And I look up and I said, oh my gosh, really? You tried it. You really tried it. Like, why you gotta do me like that? I'm trying to do the right thing in life. I don't know why you trying to do this to me. And then like most of the time it'll be enough for the person to like, instead of me focusing on my video or like I'm gonna be here, but instead of me focusing on like reviewing a video or doing something extra that I plan to do that day, I'll end up on the phone with this person or something, like on a phone call. And I'm like, then they'll last for maybe like 2-3 days. And then all of a sudden they fall off the face of the earth. It's enough for me to just be deterred from God's plan for my purpose, or for me to be focused enough to get to the next level. I guess I might be right at the cusp of being projected into growing my business, or projected into the person that I need to be somebody's wife. And it's enough time for something like that to happen to make me be like, ugh, like, see, this is why, or whatever. And then as soon as I get unfocused, or I have to, like, I start in my mind over analyzing things. And in the past, I don't do this now, but I would start to overanalyze and be like, okay, well, I said this. I didn't say this. I should have said this in this moment. I should have said that in that moment. If I had been like this, if I had done this way, if I had talked like this. And then, and it's not about the person, it's about me trying to be a perfectionist or over analyzing. And it has absolutely nothing to do with that person. I don't usually even remember the person's name. And that's not a shade to that person, but it's really just a personal thing. And it's enough to just get me off track enough so that I'll be focused on anything but what it is that God wants me to do. And you would probably say you should see it coming because you've been living this life long enough. But listen, sometimes even I fall for the traps. Sometimes even I fall into I don't want to say jealousy thing, but I fall into the trap of, okay, well, God, I prayed for this and maybe you forgot about me. I used to feel like that at the moment. I had like this period of time where I just felt like, okay, God, I'm being obedient. I'm serving. I'm intentional with my life. I'm not focused on the wrong things. I'm doing all of these things. And then I would be like at some kind of event or something, and a person that knew somebody for a week is like, oh yeah, I met my husband last week and we're getting married in 3 months. And it's like, okay, God, like I didn't even want to be in a relationship and you let this person get married in 3 months. And I'm not saying I want to rush. And it's weird because it'll be stuff that I don't even want. I mean, like, yes, I want to be with the person that God has for me. And no, I don't want to just, like, I feel like I have a lot of work to do before I get there. But also, I know that if God is sending someone, then that's the right time. So I'm not saying I'm going to tell God, oh, no, I'm not ready, because God could say that person can help you the rest of the way. That person can help heal you in this area that I couldn't do alone, because you have to be in the field to heal, so stuff like that. But I'll just be like, and I don't even want what they have. I don't want their man. I don't want anything that they have. I just felt forgotten in that moment. Like, maybe God didn't see me being diligent. Maybe God didn't see me serving. Maybe I did something wrong in this season. Maybe I didn't give enough in this area. Maybe I was supposed to be here on this day and not this day. Maybe God is saying that something's wrong with me. Maybe I didn't do enough of healing in this area. Whatever it is, like, in my head, I start to think of all of these things that I might be doing wrong, and the reason why God hasn't allowed me to be in a relationship yet, or why God is making sure that every single person doesn't make it past 2 weeks. Well, okay, the one person, but for the most part, people don't make it past 1.5, maybe 2 weeks. But it's not a bad thing, because I don't want the wrong person to make it that far anyways. I prayed to God when I got out of my last relationship, and this is super transparent and everything, but I feel like I could do this. And so when I got out of the last 15-year long relationship, I prayed to God, God, please don't allow me to waste any more time. And God has been giving me discernment like I ain't never had discernment of my life, like discernment of the person and the spirit. People will come into my life and I will see red flags day one. It's like that good. And I'm like, okay, God, I see you. Because it's not me. It's definitely coming from the Holy Spirit. Like, there's no way I had that much experience with one person that I could see all of those different characteristic traits that are red flags in all of these different men. Like, it's obviously God. And like, it'll be so good that God, I won't even get close enough to someone to get that emotional in it. The guy last year, that was all me, because I just was in my own head, pushing him away. It was just the whole thing. But that's not the point. The point is, besides that one situation, every other person has not made it past a week and a half. Every single person. I did talk to one guy for like 1.5 months or something like that. He was consistent, and then towards like the last week, he was inconsistent, and I was just like, nah, like we need to rack up no time for no reason. Like I got things to do, and it's not me being rude. It's because I have to make sure that my mental health is the most important thing. I don't want to be with anybody that's going to drive me crazy. I need to make sure that I'm mentally stable, that I'm in a good mind frame, that I'm healing, that I'm growing in the correct way. I don't want to allow anyone power over me that only God should have. God is the one that created me, not this man. So if I feel like I'm getting into a mindset, if I feel like I'm compromising, if I feel like I'm dishonoring myself or not respecting myself in any way, I can't be with that person. I can't talk to them. I can't get to know them. I can definitely not be in a relationship with them because it's compromising my integrity. It's making me become somebody that God didn't create me to be. And like I said in yesterday's video, it's not my problem or my job or my responsibility to prove or show someone that I'm who God created me to be, that I am who God says that I am. That is not my job. Their job is to have a choice in their life. And my job is to have a choice in my life. And my choice is not to allow any man, woman, whoever else, person, place, or thing to have control over me. I'm the person that makes that decision based on what it is that God wants me to do in my life. Period. That's it. That's the end. Like it's not a and, oh, but let me just wait around. Oh no, but maybe this person, I don't need to make excuses. I have this saying that I say to like younger women who ask me for advice and things like that. And I always tell them I'm not in a relationship, so I'm not a relationship person. But when it comes to loving yourself, I could tell you this. So one thing that I tell women who ask me stuff like that is, if you're with a guy or getting to know a guy and you have to lie to your parents or your best friend or somebody that's close to you about what this person is doing because you want to paint a picture that they're better than who they are, that's not the person for you. Because everything they're doing should be legit. That should be a real story, not a story that you fabricated based on a fantasy that you had in your head, that you created because you want this person to be like that, because you want them to step up, because you want them to treat you right. If the person's not treating you right and you're making up a story, that person is not for you. That person is never, ever going to treat you the way that you have in your head. And maybe even the person that is for you won't treat you the way that you fantasize. But you have to be realistic with what it is that the person is giving you. And like I said, if you're making up a story, like I'm gonna break down a quick example because this video is getting long. But like, so I was talking to this one guy a long time ago, and he would text or whatever and not call, which is already a red flag, but that's besides the point. And I would be like, oh yeah, talk to them such and such day. And I didn't talk over the phone to anybody. It was a text message. A text message is not. I'm sorry. I'm probably gonna be the only woman. I don't know. Maybe there's other women that think this, but a text message does not do it for me. I'm not a texting kind of person. I can't determine voice fluctuation, mood, or determine what type of person you are based on your tone. If I'm texting you over the phone, that tells me nothing. If I'm trying to tell you something that's important to me, if I need to discuss something with you, I'm going to need to be able to build trust. I'm going to need to be able to communicate with you in a real way, in an adult way. Like, and I'm not trying to call the person childish. I'm just saying that, like, me as a grown woman, I'm not trying to be texting like a teenager talking about, oh, OMG, you made me so mad. No, I get irritated now. I don't even get mad anymore, but that's besides the point. I want to really be comfortable enough to feel like I could talk to this person about whatever it is that's happening or whatever it is that's on my mind. I don't want to go to my friend. I don't want to go to a family member. I want to go directly to the source to tell them what it is that's bothering me, what it is that happened in my life, what it is that I'm happy, sad about, whatever else. And in order for me to feel comfortable doing that, especially after I've been heartbroken, especially after all of the things that I went through in my life, I can't build trust through a text message. I can't see your consistency in a text message. I can't even feel like you respect me through a text message, because if you're texting me, and you could say I'm over the top, I'm over exaggerating, whatever else, but I feel like a text message is like a slap in the face. It's like oh yeah, you're cute, but it's kind of like oh yeah, I kind of want to talk to you. Like when someone texts, it's kind of like I kind of want to talk to you, but not like I really want to talk to you. Like I feel like a phone call says, I do want to get to know something about you. Like, regardless of where this goes, I want to learn something about you. Not only that, it builds good rapport. I feel like, okay, you're communicating, you're communicative. That means that you're willing to socialize. That means that you're the type of person that, regardless if you're shy or not, you know what you want and you go for it, which is already attractive. Like things like that, that might only be important to me, but I feel like it's such a significant thing when it comes to building something with someone else. And I'm not a relationship expert or anything like that, but I know what I like. And so, so I mean, the same thing with cars. Like, I like nice cars, like old school, like collector's items, stuff like that. I don't know none of the names of these cars, but I know what I like. Like, I know I like an old school 67 Chevy, or whatever. But that might be the only car that I know. I might know what a Porsche 911 coupe looks like because that's something that I personally like or whatever, you know. Or I might know like certain vehicles, but I don't know like what type of engines in it. Like, I don't know about the V8, V6s, kind of, but not really, So I know enough about the things that I actually like to want to find out more information about it. And I feel like that's how it is in a relationship with a friend, with a person, with a partner, whatever else. When you're really interested in learning more about it, you really put forth an effort to figure it out. It's not like a excuse thing. It's not like and like I said, always remember it's not your job or responsibility to prove somebody else that you are who you are. You don't have to prove that you're a good person who's loyal. The person who needs to see that is going to see it. You don't have to prove that you're the type of person who's who's honest. Your honesty is going to show itself. Your core values and characteristics are already going to be imminent in any relationship that you're producing in the future. You don't have to pretend to be somebody else. You don't have to try to prove anything to anybody else. If I have, like, for example, on my YouTube channel, if I have like 250 people or 230 people that are subscribed to my channel, one of those people is a person that God wants me to reach because he knows that this message is going to be important in their life to produce something in them that may help them in their purpose or whatever else. That's the person, God will lead a 99 to go back for the one. If that's the one person that I'm helping in my life, then I've done everything that it is that God set for me to do. It's not my job to try to prove to millions of people that God wants to use me on this video or wherever else. God is going to use me wherever he sees fit. And the one person that watches it might be a person that gives me a brand deal for $1,000 or a couple $1,000s or whatever else. And I might have a contract with them for the year. And every month I might make $5,000 off of this one brand deal from one person that watched the video. I might not need 1 million subscribers just to be successful, you know? So you just have to go where you're celebrated. I heard, what is her name? Coco? It was like on a short on YouTube. One day I was scrolling and I always look at inspirational stuff and I look at videos on ways that I can grow, that I can be a better person or whatever else. And I'm scrolling and I see, I think her name is Coco Jones or something. She was talking about what her grandmother told her, and she said, "Go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated." And I think that's so true. That has helped me immensely, like so much. And when I am talking to a guy, when I'm in a friendship, when I'm around family members, I don't go around anybody that doesn't feel like they're happy that I'm around. If somebody is giving me the stink eye, the stink face, if somebody looks like they don't want me to be around, whatever else, I'm not trying to be around anybody that's going to make me feel like I'm worthless, because I know that I'm worthy because God created me. And I don't mean worthy of all the things that God blesses me with, but worthy to be respected and honored and treated like a human being with common decency. Anywhere that I go, I'm not going to be with a guy who doesn't see my value. That's not where God would intend for me to be. That's not where I need to be in my life. I need to go where I'm celebrated. I'm not going to a job that's tolerating me, that's like, oh, okay, well, she's here. I just need a person to fill the position. I need somebody to say, you know what, you use this program, I use this too. I've been looking for someone that could help in this program. I've been looking for someone that would work this thing. I'm so excited to have you on the team. That's the place that I want to work. I want to be everywhere that I'm celebrated, not where I'm tolerated. I'm not trying to be around any person in my life that feels like I'm a burden to them. I literally, I mean, I try to emulate this to I try to show this to my daughter as well. I try to make sure that my daughter sees that, listen, if you don't feel comfortable in this situation, if you're not being appreciated, if you feel uncomfortable, whatever else, I'm going to make sure that we put you in a place. We're going to have you somewhere where you are actually celebrated, not tolerated. I'm not trying to show my daughter, oh, yeah, give people the benefit of the doubt and just let people treat you like trash. That is not the type of life that I want anybody around me to live. I don't care if you're a family member, friend. I just met you today and you a good person. Listen, all of us need to be coming up. All of us need to be in a place where we're celebrated, not tolerated. And when you're around people like that, it makes you feel better about yourself. And I know you're like, well, it shouldn't hang on the balance of someone else. You shouldn't be looking at your self esteem as what someone else gives you. No, but it can really hurt your self esteem when you're in a place where you're just tolerated, when you're with the guy who doesn't see your value, who really thinks he just deigns to be in a relationship. It's like, oh, yeah, you're home. Oh, yeah. You know, I have to talk to you right now. I have to do this. Then when you're with the guy who's like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm so happy that you gave me the opportunity to talk to you. When you're around a guy who's like, oh, you know, thank you for letting me take you out. Whatever it is that you're doing, when you're in a place where you're celebrated, you honoring, respecting yourself, and allowing people to be around you who actually celebrate you instead of tolerate you makes you feel better as well. So don't be jealous because everything that's for you is for you and can't nobody take that from you. That job, that man, that opportunity, and for men, that woman that's for you, that God grace for you, can't nobody take that from you. Like, stop feeling like you're missing out on something because your friends, family members, other people in a relationship or other people got their job or their business grew. I'm trying not to use certain words because their business expanded and it grew tremendously. You are exactly where God intended for you to be. You don't have to be jealous of what anybody else says. That's not for you. If it was for you, you would have it. That's how I think of it. If I meet a guy and he's like, oh, you know, and he starts to feel like or pull back or whatever else, I'm like, okay, that just showed me that it's not my job to prove to him that I'm worth it. He has a choice to like whatever it is that he likes. If he's not interested in me, the next man will be interested in me. The person who God graced for me will be interested in me. He's not the only man on this entire earth. I think I read this study one time before that said it's 1.5 million single men in the United States of America. You only need one person. So why are we tripping? You know, it's really like, and I don't care what the ratio says. I don't care what the statistics say because God is the God that makes the impossible possible. So why would I need to hate, be jealous, or want what anybody else has when God has something specifically for me? And He has something specifically for you as well. So if you're done being jealous, put I'm not jealous in the comments. And I will see you tomorrow. On tomorrow's video will be the 24th day of 30 Days of Purpose at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it.